All right, listen up, team. I'm your coach, Mark Stevens. My job is to guide you to become a better team player and to know the game rules of bucket trucks. So by the end of this program, as a player in the world of bucket trucks, you'll be expected to know the state and federal rules that pertain to bucket trucks, the importance of a daily inspection, and what items must be inspected each day without fail, and the proper way to drive a bucket truck to its destination, as well as where and how to park it. You'll also learn the proper techniques for sizing up the job site and positioning the equipment for the safest and most efficient use. The kind of protective gear that we require all team players to have, and not just have, but use, and use correctly. We'll also cover the dangers presented by overhead power lines, obstructions, and other potential hazards, and the pre-flight checklist that needs to be completed before you operate any lifter bucket. Now, before we go any further, you have to understand the signs of the game in order to play the game. Of course, the biggest difference between a game and real life is understanding that these signs can literally mean the difference between life and death. Let's start with the ANSI standard blue and white notice sign. No matter what the piece of equipment or the field condition, this sign always means equipment damage can result if proper game day procedures aren't followed. This is sort of a 5-yard penalty kind of sign. Not a game changer, but even if your safety isn't threatened, don't risk property damage or injury to you or the team by ignoring this sign. Now, the ANSI caution signs are yellow, just like racing's yellow flag. Serious injury or death isn't likely, but this sign means some personal injury is a real possibility if you don't pay the proper attention in this area. And just like the yellow flag in racing, things can get worse in a hurry if you don't slow down and use your head. Disregarding an orange warning sign might get you sent to the sidelines real quick. It means look out. There's a real possibility of an accident with an injury or death likely. If you weren't already on guard, the orange warning sign with the exclamation point should remind you to be extra careful in this area. There could be a major penalty or suspension coming down if you don't pay attention to the orange warning sign. You ignore this sign, and you might get thrown out of the game, and I mean permanently. A danger sign always means death is a real possibility if you ignore any of the safety rules around or near this area. With a bucket truck, that can mean a fall from the bucket, a truck tip over, or contact with an electrical line. Any of those events can mean instant death, so there's no room for games or taking shortcuts when the red and white danger sign is nearby. So think of it as an option play. The D in danger can mean death if you don't practice good defense. Now, the best way to avoid an unsafe situation is to practice safety every time you suit up, just like the pros practice their moves before they take the field. Be like the superstars of the game. Make safety your top priority before you even start your day.
Have you ever watched a pilot get ready to fly? Well, if you have, or maybe you are a pilot, you know something about pre-flight inspections. No pilot wants to put themselves or their passengers in an unsafe situation. We want you and all those around you to be safe as well. That's why doing a complete inspection before you take the vehicle out to a job is so important. It's easy to rush through or even skip an inspection, we know. But you put yourself and everyone you work with at risk if you do. So let's take the time. Let's meet Chad from our Prescott, Arizona team, who will show us what he looks for before he rolls out for the day.
First things I'm going to look for is kind of the basics. Look at the tires, make sure everything's filled up. My headlight lenses, everything look good. No cracks in the windshields. Everything's secure on the truck. Nothing's going to fall off. Make sure all your latches are tight. Bins are shut. Kind of do your everyday inspection list. Make sure everything's good to go and the vehicle's ready to travel.
Be sure to check backup signals, lights, flashers, and other visual aural alert devices. You'll need to check under the hood as well. Belts and hoses, oil and coolant levels, cables and connectors, electrical pumps and generators. All those things are important on your own vehicle, and of course they're even more important before you start handling an 8 or a 10-ton vehicle that'll be hoisting you 40 or 50 feet in the air. So always make sure you're good to go before you go. Once the engine and frame check okay, our pre-flight check moves on to the aerial unit. Of course, it's not just nuts and bolts that you want to check. You'll need to take a close look at all these parts: pins, welds, hoses, tubes, turntable, hydraulic cylinders. Look for leaks of hydraulic fluid. Verify fluid levels. Overall electrical system, booms, guards, platform and latches on door. Note any unusual noises or vibrations. Check auxiliary power supplies if applicable. Booms must be in their fully lowered position and also secured. You don't want that popping up while you're traveling down the road. If you're using the truck to tow an equipment trailer, remember to check the total vehicle weight so that you don't exceed the manufacturer's gross vehicle weight rating, or GVWR. And be prepared for your truck to handle differently and take longer to brake than it does without the additional load. You want to make certain all those warning stickers and placards are where they're supposed to be. If you notice any you can't read, or they're damaged or appear to be missing, that's a violation. Whether it's a torn safety sticker or a hose that looks cracked, your truck can't roll until all defects have been cured and a supervisor signs off on the repair. Your safety is a top concern to us, and it should be your concern as well.
I guess there's a good reason to put out those traffic cones. It seems this fella, he just pulled up to the pole and was getting ready to go up in the bucket. Well, he was just disconnecting a drop, about a 2-minute job. Probably figured it'd take longer to set out the cones than the whole job would take. So he goes to the side of the truck to get his tools when, wham! Car passing the truck gets too close and knocks this poor guy right out of his shoes. Well, it probably wouldn't have happened if he'd done the job the right way and set the cones first. On the other hand, saving those 2 or 3 minutes probably seemed like a good idea at the time.